Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Amazing Mindset chat room. Or welcome back, should I say. And today I'm absolutely delighted to have on board here in the chat room Lynne Briggs, whom I met
Hello.
a few years ago. Welcome, Lynne. The reason we've got Lynne on because Lynn, I can't even speak some mornings. The reason we've got Lynne on is because we mentioned in the chat with Graham Hind, which you've probably already watched. It all started with MH1. It was something that happened during COVID. It's gone from strength to strength since, with Lynne as joint director at the helm. And I'm just going to ask Lynne to explain exactly what it's all about. It's, of course, the MH stands for mental health. So this is obviously massive on my Amazing Mindset recordings. So, Lynne, once again, welcome. Please tell us a little bit about MH1 Global, please.
Oh, thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on your chat room. It's great. It's great to be here. I mean, we went back how many years when we first met? Oh, is it
It
five?
must be it must be 4 or 5. Yeah.
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 Wow. Wow. So, MH1, yes, mental health. The one stands for first. So, mental health first. And it did come about because I work in the health and fitness industry, and it came about over a chat at an event. Um, and during the chat, I was talking. It was Graham Hines and Julian Taylor actually from Matrix Fitness, and we were talking about mental health and the fact that in our industry we don't actually talk about it. We do physical. We'll do a physical checklist. A part what we call a PAR-Q or something similar. But nothing about mental health, and it's kind of a throwaway. It was a throwaway thing. And how are you feeling, Jed? Are you all right? Yeah, great. Right. Well, let's get started. And that was it.
Mm,
But you see now, and moving on from there, you see now the stats that are coming out about people who are actually going to the gym, and it's a ridiculous. I mean, 90% of people that go there actually go in there to make themselves feel. It's all about feeling. They feel better. And more than half of those during the latest studies, more than half of those go specifically for stress and anxiety, not to look, not to look better per se, but to feel better. So that's now. But getting to that point, we realised that, well, first of all, I thought all we had to do was throw half a dozen questions on a questionnaire and say, bish bash bosh, here we go. I spoke to a clinician, and it was like not quite so simple as that. I mean, this had to be a non-clinical tool, this questionnaire that we have. Um, and it took 12 months 12 months of getting it together and testing it, and it started off as a master's degree dissertation with our co-director now, Pauline Litherland, who's just got married last week, so her surname has since changed. But she did that as part of her dissertation, and oh my god, I really thought this was it. I thought I was going to lose a friendship, never mind a work colleague. It was hard work, but we got there. So we have this mental health questionnaire, and it'd been through a couple of validations. We market tested it, and there it was on a spreadsheet. Um, 74 questions on a spreadsheet. Oh my goodness, what on earth are we going to do with this? It was like
mm,
hands thrown up in the air, all that work, no one's going to use it. And then we saw Stu from Referral at another event talking. They have an online platform called Referral. Anyway, long story short, they became partners. It now sits on their platform. It's you just access that. You can access that through the system, automatically scores. So at the end of the day, I can give you a score of 11 lifestyle factors, things that bother people, Jed, bother
mm,
people: money, employment, how you look, your confidence, physical activity, sleep, nutrition, those things that bother people every single day of every
mm.
single week.
Yeah.
It automatically gives us a score, and that means that we can now have a look at those scores and see basically, Jed, what do you work on? What do you work on? What would you like to work on? Because what I might think you should be working on might be not what you want to work on. Because
Right.
it may flag sleep up as something that we might be able to improve. But you might say to me, oh, I know why that is, Lynn. Okay. Why is that, Jed? And it opens up a whole new conversation. So, it may be there's a whole host of things around why you can't sleep that are all to do with those other lifestyle factors as well. So it may
Mm,
be that you want to work on work-life balance because actually the reason you can't sleep is you're so worried about work and you've got all this stuff to do.
mm,
La, 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 la. So,
yeah.
we might be able to help you a little bit with that. So as I said at the start of this, it's not clinical. This tool that we have, the MHQ, is not a clinical. We're not clinicians. We're not qualified to do that. If we see somebody who we think needs that sort of intervention, which is from a clinician, we have to refer on basically.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
So this questionnaire,
mhm,
the MHQ, as you call it,
mhm. Yeah,
which covers the 11
yeah,
lifestyle concerns people have, or
yeah.
like uh, you would you can introduce this then to fitness centers, gymnasiums,
Yeah.
and does it go a little bit wider than that as well? Do you go into businesses
Well,
as well, or is this something you're moving towards?
well, we again, the whole focus was to introduce it into our industry, to
The
operate.
fitness
Yeah,
industry.
yeah.
Yeah.
But then quickly we realized this is an HR tool. This is, to cliche it, this is for anybody. Any company, any organization. If you wanted a snapshot, if you were heading up a company, Jed, with 100 employees, for example, you took on the questionnaire, you sent it out to everybody. You could get an anonymized report off the back of that would actually give you a it's not a screenshot, is it? What's the word? A Help me out here, Jed.
Yes, yes, I know. An oversight of
Yeah. No,
your employees.
yeah, that's it. You'd get a snapshot in time of where your employees
Yeah,
may be
yeah,
struggling. So
yeah.
you'd get this report. It may flag up. It might flag up sleep. It might flag up work-life balance. It might flag up self-image. But it would give you you would have the evidence, if you like, if to call it evidence. You'd have some data there that would help you to put in strategies to
Yes.
help your workforce across the board. So you wouldn't necessarily have to kind of pick out an individual. It may be, oh my goodness, these people
Mm,
are struggling with. I'll use sleep because it's kind of so common. It seems to be the crux of such a lot of people's issues. You might bring somebody in. You might get it may be that you are able to access a webinar for people to go onto your intranet or whatever. You would be able to have a look at each one of those lifestyle factors, and you'd be able to
mm.
bring stuff in that would actually support your staff.
Great. So basically your MHQ, your questionnaire is really a massive support tool, isn't it? I remember when I was talking to Graham, he said that the old type of, I mean, the fitness centers of 10 years ago, or even before COVID or whatever, weren't interested in yeah, like you said it before, they weren't really interested in the mental health side of it was all to do with the physique side, and
Right?
that's the image that gymnasiums have created over the years, the six pack and the muscles and the lifting of weights and stuff. And he's going, it's starting to change. And you mentioning before that it's all now, you've got a thing behind you, I think it says feel good.
Release the
It's a
feel good.
release the feel good factor. And this is going to be of benefit, isn't it, for all, and for people joining and stuff. I'm not going to the gym to work to necessarily lift 25K on each finger, but I'm going there because I know it's going to make me feel good. It's going to
Yeah,
make me feel better. And
exactly that.
this link between physical exercise and mental health is just massive. isn't it?
It's huge. And obviously physical activity is one of the 11 lifestyle factors, but you know, the sometimes the route around there, if we're talking about an organization, you know, maybe physical activity isn't what they really want to do, and if they don't feel comfortable with that, so you can work on all the other stuff first, because if people feel better in themselves, they are more likely to take up physical activity. But as long
Yeah,
as we can get them to move to start with, in whatever that is, whatever
yeah,
movement means
yeah.
to them, whatever it is, they're moving. But that, you know, if you're feeling good about yourself, and we talk about gym members, you know, we were talking about gym members, everything else will fall into place.
Yes.
You know, if we are talking gym members, they're already doing the physical activity, let's be honest. They're already doing that. But doing that will influence how they feel, will influence their confidence, will
Mhm.
influence them to think, I'm going to look at what I'm eating and I'm going to start eating more healthily, will affect, absolutely, will positively affect their sleep. So even though, you know, you might be concentrating on one of those, it usually we get, if there's 11, no, we would normally expect improvements over a period of time. Say, let's just use a 12-week window. We would expect improvements on at least 8 of those other lifestyle
Mm.
factors.
Yeah,
I'm
because
talking, you know,
they're all
small.
interlinked, aren't they? Yeah. Now, do you know what this is reminding me of, Lynn? This is
Well,
reminding me so much of the chat I did with Dr. Hussein Al Zubaidi
oh yeah,
and his six pillars of lifestyle medicine. So he's one of these doctors, and there's a few of them now on LinkedIn that I've seen who are actually advocating. You know, we're not just here to give you pills to take. We're here to let you know all the things that you can do yourself
yeah,
without doing that.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
yours is seems to be on that same
It is.
track, helping people to actually look after themselves, isn't it?
Absolutely. And you know, the feeling that fit that again, it's that fit that it's feeling. I know everything's to do with how you feel. You can't do any of the other stuff unless you feel good. You know,
Yeah,
you can't go and lift. You know, obviously, I'm a massive, massive advocate of physical activity, especially strength training. You know, for all sorts of other reasons. You know, that's a different conversation. But you're not going to be in the right mood to do this sort of stuff if you don't feel good about yourself. So that's what we're in. We're in a preventative, you know, we're in that preventative space. We want to
yes,
help people. We want to help people before we get to critical stage, you know, and if we can do it early doors by small, you know, we're not looking for massive, massive improvements in anything, you know, step by step improvements. And the thing with the tool is it has to be remeasured. You know, you've got your initial, you know, you've got your initial numbers, and it has to be remeasured because we have to see, you know, we have to see where the improvements are. And you know what? Sometimes, Jed, there isn't an improvement, but that's okay because we just go back again, and it's like, okay, Jed, we haven't seen an improvement here. Do you know why that is? All of these things, open
mhm,
conversations that
yes,
people, gym
yes,
instructors and PTs have not been able to do before
right,
because they didn't know how to. We're actually giving them the permission to ask the questions because that
yeah,
person wouldn't be
yeah,
there unless they wanted that help, not
right,
forcing them down that path. So they'll tell you why. Oh, oh, the reason that, oh my God, I live in a terraced house and next door neighbour, they've just had a baby and
yeah,
I hear it screaming in the night and it's disturbing my sleep. Well, okay. You know, sometimes there's a reason. It could be another member of your family is having an issue. They think that, you know, they think they're going to be made redundant. There's redundancy in the
mhm,
pipeline. So they're really, you know, obviously stress and anxiety is part and parcel of these 11 lifestyles. So there's things that come into your life, but if you know what they are, again, a lot of people will be able to self-help. You know, they don't.
yeah,
So I know what I'm going. I know what I need to do. It's like you don't even have to signpost them. You don't have to put the intervention in. You just have to track it with them because I know what I need to do. You know,
yeah,
my mate's been, you know, she's been minding me to go to yoga for weeks, and it's just not. I'm just not. But you know what, Lynn? I'm going to do it. So then you have those little touch points along the way. You do the questionnaire again, and we see where we are. But as I said, the
yeah. So
great thing about this is one thing. If we get in these improvements, they will improve across the board generally. Just
brilliant. Absolutely. Yeah. It's you mentioned you've mentioned about 10 times already the word sleep. So
Oh yeah.
this is obviously big on your list. And
Oh yeah.
this is going to be a very interesting conversation for the future, I think, because I've noticed an awful lot of people talking about that recently. And it's an interesting one because I've got this thing about the mobile phone and stuff, and the amount of time people are spending with
Right. Yeah.
engaging their minds on all sorts of stuff, from Instagram to TikTok to all the dinosaur stuff like Facebook and all the ones that we use. It's an interesting one because the whole idea of sleep, I guess, is that your body wants to recharge itself for the next day, and it's not being put into a place where it can do that, because it's just overloaded, I guess, and with stuff. But anyway, that's a different conversation.
Oh my gosh,
What I,
yeah.
what I was going to lead to was the similarity, again, between your 11 lifestyle things and Dr. Hussein's 6 pillars of lifestyle
Yeah.
medicine. Very much interlinked. It's fantastic. And advocating people doing things for themselves rather than looking for something on the outside that they can use as a kind of help, if you like. And a lot of the time, it's pills or these days injections for people. So that's another conversation. But I just want to, before I forget, I want to just pick up on something I saw on LinkedIn only a few days ago, which is something new that you were putting together at MH1. And I was really interested in it because you know what? I just went, wow, that is a brilliant analogy, because you've called something buckle up first. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And and when I saw it, I thought, buckle up first. What else that got to do? And then I read. So if you explain buckle up first,
Yeah.
please.
Oh, yeah. So, there are a lot, and we deliver them. There are a lot of mental health awareness, mental health first aid type trainings around. But we got to thinking, hang on a minute, that's great. This is great. It's what we do. We want to help other people. Obviously, that's what the MHQ is all about. We want to help people. However, how can you help somebody if you not can't help yourself first? So we've created this 4-hour face-to-face workshop, and we have called it Buckle Up First because we just thought that is a great analogy. The fact that you need to make sure you're safe first mentally, you're safe first before you can help other people. So the whole idea is to explore early signs of mental fatigue, to look for look for, if you like, look for the flags,
Yeah.
and then to look at how we build, how to recognize them, and then how to build basically a plan for yourself that you can use. Again, nothing major, but little habits, little things that you can do, and obviously be aware of, that are going to help you in your day-to-day life.
Mm.
So yeah, so the ultimate plan is to have a personalized action plan.
Yes.
So yours might be different to me. It might be and to take that away, so they've actually got something to go away with for them, for them. So they've recognized the signs, they know what they're going to do about the signs, and they've got the plan that's going to help them
Yeah.
basically
Great.
deliver it for themselves.
So this is starting off as just like a 4 hour.
Yeah.
Is it like a webinar or a?
No, it's face to face.
Oh, it's face to face, right?
Yeah, great believer in this is a personal journey, and it's be small. There'll only be a maximum of 12 people on the workshop. It's a workshop. It's not, again, I have to stress, this isn't clinical. This is, it's a not, and what we call not regulated training. It's a workshop, so it's all about you. It's all about you, because
And then you can share ideas, can't you, on the workshop
ah,
as well? Yeah.
this is what happens. This is what happens. People start to open up, and that's why I want to keep it. I don't like to use the word intimate, but we want to
I know
keep
what
it
you mean. Yeah, yeah,
niche,
yeah.
so that, because you've got to be in a place of trust.
Yes.
If you're talking about, you're talking, if you are going to open up, which you don't have to, none of this you have to. It's, this is just about, well, these are the signs, da 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 da. This is you, blah blah blah, and having that plan that's unique to you.
Yes.
Because I was looking at the stats, Jed, and the word presenteeism is used a lot. We can measure absenteeism, as
Yeah.
HR, directors and managers. We manage that, and we know for a fact that a lot of people do not go into work. They don't say what the real reason is. If it is a mental, if it's to do with mental health, a lot of people still to this day won't say that. They'll come up with some other excuse, but the stats are still there. They know what the absenteeism stats are per se.
Yeah. Yeah.
Presenteeism is so much harder, that to evaluate. But the what's it called? The Public Policy Research, the Institute for Public Policy Research, and Deloitte. God, that's a mouthful.
Yeah. It is. Yeah.
It came out with some research last year, 2025, to say that the annual cost of staff struggling with stress and anxiety or burnout is over £100 billion. So they're coming to work, they're logged on, but they're not really
Not
giving
doing
you
it.
or themselves, So again, we talked with the MHQ about preventative measures. So is this workshop. Hopefully it will help people to actually identify in themselves, maybe I need to do something about this instead of burying heads.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
that's what that's about. And the again, there's analogies within that workshop, and analogies in the workshop itself I'll share with you are about batteries. So it's all about charging your battery to,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's stuff that people can relate to. I'm a great believer in having stuff that is relatable, that people will actually connect with. So it's very practical, very hands-on,
Yes. Yes.
in that sense. So yeah, I'm quite excited about that. We've had a lot of interest already on about
Good. Good.
that one. Again, with companies. I mean, one organisation that's actually committed to a number of sessions is starting with their senior leadership team, and I'm like, yes, we
Yeah.
get some belief and commitment from the top.
From the top. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a tick box exercise.
Yeah.
That's being vulnerable. That's being open. That's saying, I'm going to do this. So, to
Yeah.
get that sort of buy-in, not, tick, we've done this, tick, we've done that. That was amazing. That was
Yeah. That's fantastic
yeah,
because
yeah,
that means it's going the ripple effect through the business
yeah,
is coming from the top.
yeah,
They always say, don't they, that if you can convince the CEO, then all of his team, and then their team, and
yeah,
then the bigger team, and then
yeah.
the ones on
So
the
there's
shop
no
floor.
pressure.
It's
No
got
pressure.
it's
No
got to come from the
pressure.
top, like everything else
Yeah,
comes from the top.
yeah, yeah,
If a company's making changes in its I don't know, in anything, that those changes come from the top. They don't come from the ground floor.
no.
So fantastic, absolutely. And what I'm really
Really, yeah,
what's striking me about this conversation is the fact that when I met you, this was all something that was just the MHQ was something that was new, so new to you, and you were going, we're really excited about this. We don't know where it's going to go, but
yeah,
we're going to try and get it to here. We're going to try and get it there. I remember
yeah.
sitting having a coffee with you, and I was, trying to, get you interested in some books I'd written. This was long before the podcast and everything. So,
Yeah,
it's really nice to know that it's moved on and is moving and continuing to move, and it's something that started out as well. Let's just try. It's like a community thing. Graham
yeah,
was on about this all the time, and
yeah,
Hussein is on does talks about it when you talk with him. It's all about community. He's talking about these park runs and connecting with just people moving, dance clubs and all the rest of it. It's
Yeah, yeah,
community, it's community stuff, and that's exactly what I see. What I see
yeah.
MH1 Global is doing. It's it started out as a questionnaire, and now it's becoming a community thing, and
Wow, yeah.
it's just really nice to hear, Lynn. Really
Thank
nice to hear.
you. Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you. It's not a questionnaire, it's not. I mean, I have been told off so many times for calling it a questionnaire. Um, but it is a tool. I mean, the questionnaire is a
it's
tool,
cool.
and
Yeah,
it's and we toyed with this. It's a lifestyle discovery tool in
that's
essence.
right. Exactly.
That's what it is. And we toyed with calling that initially, but we thought it was a little bit too at the time. It was a bit too like wishy-washy,
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
but that's exactly what it is. And
Yeah.
what it does is measure the trajectory of mental health using lifestyle factors. And it's a non-clinical. It's not scary. It's not. I keep using the word clinical because it isn't. This is what we're trying. This is where we're trying to help prevent people going down that
Yeah.
clinical route.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
we can,
Yeah.
we're not going to be able to help everybody, Jed. That
That's
would be a
right.
ridiculous
Yes.
assumption to make.
If you could, that you said to me before when we just before we started recording, if we can reduce the queues at the NHS,
Yeah,
that in itself
yeah,
is a job well done. And I think
absolutely.
that's the same thing that Hussein is interested in. And I know, talking to Graham as we did at length, this is the feeling behind the fitness industry at the moment.
Absolutely.
There's
No,
more to it. There's
absolutely.
more to it than fitness, and it's mental fitness, isn't it?
It is. You just took the words out
Yeah,
of my mouth.
just
Yeah,
brilliant. Yeah,
yeah, it is because if you, it's you know what, Jed, it's one continuum. You haven't got one without the other.
no,
If you're
no,
not feeling, if you're not feeling mentally, if you're feeling mentally fatigued, you ain't gonna do the physical stuff.
no, no.
And the physical stuff, and you can't. But if you've got both,
Yeah,
so and it's just your whole being is alive.
yeah.
Let's be honest, and let's not talk about longevity at this stage because me being at the end of that spectrum, everything, everything,
Yeah, I know what you mean. I
everything.
know what you mean. Yeah,
Yeah, it's all contributing to a happier, healthier um way of life, isn't it? This isn't
mm,
about this is
yeah,
helping people live healthier
yeah.
longer, not just
That's
live.
right.
The
That's
whole.
right. Yeah,
It's all.
longevity starts today.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Not next week.
No.
It starts today, and yeah, Lynn, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. And I wish the very best for MH1. I'll put all the links next to this podcast, all about MH1 that I can find. Um, it'll be really interesting to have a chat in the future about see where your buckle up first
Oh yeah,
has
yeah,
gone.
yeah,
Put your seatbelt on before you tell everybody else.
yeah.
Put your
Brilliant.
own
Thank
on
you.
first. Yeah. Yeah. It's just great that you are in the what I call the community side of wellness. I mean, I've put podcasts out there and written about what I used to call I still do to this day actually the triangle of wellness. There's more to it than a triangle. It's actually a circle. If I could redo the podcast, I will. That this wellness circle, I used to call it the triangle because it was physical exercise, nutrition, and mental health. And if you haven't got the three, and I use the example of two great tennis players coming together on a final. Okay. Now, each one of them has fitness beyond your imagination. And they both have nutritional experts making sure they eat exactly the right food for them, you know. But the difference between the two, apart from the skill factor, which is probably very, very similar, they can all hit the same shots, they're all capable of doing this, capable of that. The difference is the mental side of the game. And if one is stronger than the other, they will win. And there's this when you talk about um, the 11 different points. This is on the circle. This is massive, and in the middle of the circle, you have this thing called wellness.
Yeah.
And if you look around the circle and you point the arrows in, and each one is connecting with the other, and
Yeah.
it's all going round, and it goes this way, it goes that way, it goes through as well, and
Absolutely.
it's
It's
absolutely
not
brilliant.
linear. It's not linear.
No,
It isn't.
it's
It's
all connected. Yeah.
like blood pressure. It's not a stable state, is it?
No, no, no.
But yeah, no, it's it's joyous is the word I'd use to
Yeah.
work, and see people improving, and
Yeah.
even at that initial stage, Jed,
Yeah.
where
Just
they see
making
those
those little
numbers.
changes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when they see those numbers and you tell them what they mean, they
Yeah.
go, yeah, that's me. It's like looking in a mirror. That is me. But once seeing it and knowing it in your head and seeing it written down,
Yeah.
what a difference.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Difference.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's right. Absolutely
I,
wonderful. Thanks, Lynn.
thank you.
We're going to we're going to we're going to stop the recording any minute. So thanks once again for your time. All the very best with MH1 Global in the future. Okay, and
Thanks,
we'll
Jed.
let everybody know about it. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, cheers.
Thanks,
Bye
Lynn.
bye. Bye bye.
Okay.